I'm actually more, believe it or not, more encouraged than discouraged by how we're playing. And I feel like this is a crazy year in the conference. And I think every team in this conference believes that they could win on any given night. And, and because they could. It's just such a interesting year for us from top to bottom. And last week, we lost by 1, and 3 other games were decided by 2 or less points. And another one was decided by 5 points. And then Utah State beats us by 1, goes over to Colorado State and loses by 1. And San Jose State's at the top of the conference, and we were in that game all the way down to the wire. And I think that the Utah State game definitely got our attention in the area of our offensive execution. And that was the first time that I think our team really took it to heart that we have to execute better, that we can't just hope that if we run our offenses that something's going to magically appear, that we've got to know what we're looking for and how to get it. And I thought our game management against San Jose State was the best that I had seen all year. From the standpoint of us, it was pretty much neck and neck almost the whole game. We had one point where we fell behind by, I think, 10 or 11, but it didn't last very long. And for the most part, that game was just tight the entire way. But that time we fell behind by 11, that's probably been our biggest Achilles heel. That's been the thing we've been battling all year. We get too many empty possessions, and we get too many turnovers at bad times that then lead to us going into a hole, and then we have to spend the rest of the game climbing out of the hole. And if we can somehow find a way to just mitigate that tendency that tends to happen at different places. It's not always in the third quarter. Often in the third quarter, it was this past game in the third quarter. But we are third in the conference in points allowed. We're first in the conference in steals. We're fourth in the conference in turnover margin, and we're third in offensive rebound percentage. And that's the key. The key statistic is offensive rebound percentage. How many offensive rebounds that are available do we get? If you just did it totally unnumbered, you'd have to factor in how many we miss, But the percentage category, tells the story. And so we're doing so many good things. There were times when Air Force was never in the top 5 on anything, and we're doing so many good things. We just got to put it together at some point, and I believe that we will. But like I say, game management was so critical because San Jose State is an explosive team. Big-time kids that can score the ball on that team, and some big-time bodies. And it was we really had our hands full, and I thought we did a really good job, and just wish we had managed the game that well against Utah State. And so that's where we are.
Coach, I'm wondering, with the record that you have so far this year, if you're looking towards the next couple of years, have you seen development out of some of your young players that maybe you're excited about?
Well, yes. I mean, we're still not a upper class dominated team. We're another year away from. We won't be dominated by upperclassmen next year, but at least we'll have more upperclassmen than we do right now. And I think I know we all felt we would have more wins at this point. We're all disappointed about that. That's not anything that anybody is okay with. But I also think we didn't expect to deal with some of the things we dealt with early in the season when we had a pre-conference schedule that was manageable, but we were dealing with some major things then. Conference is we knew would be sort of up and down and a little crazy, and we're certainly as competitive, if not more competitive, than we've ever been. Definitely every team comes in ready to play us. There's not a single team that ever takes us for granted anymore.
Now, as you look at some of these positive things that we take away from last week's games, looking ahead to this week in Fresno State, what do you think that the team needs to hone in on so they can manage the game better and hopefully come out with a win?
Well, Fresno's in first place, and it's on their court. So, but again, it's not like Fresno has run away with the conference. They've still been in tight games. People have been able to compete with them, and I think we got to hit some shots. We got to hit some shots because they're going to zone us. We know that, and they play really hard. But that's okay. We play hard too, and So it could be a little wild and woolly, I think, because they've got two freshmen that just absolutely play like their hair is on fire, and then they have a nice steady point guard who's been there for a while. They have a post kid that I love. I voted for her last year as the player of the year in the conference, Maddie Udy, number 11. I just think she's just really, I love how that kid plays. And so they've got all the pieces. We still don't have all the pieces, but we're getting there. We've got some kids that got to get better. We've got some things we still need to add to the picture. And but we're gonna try to continue to understand the importance of managing the basketball game and not having dead spots and recognizing when we've got to slow it down and when we can go fast. I felt so bad for us because we made 3 big stops in the fourth quarter when we were within 4 or 5 of San Jose and came down the floor and had opportunities to score it and could not get it to go in the basket. And it was just but they did it again, and then they came back and did it again. And so I respect the character of our players, and that's all going to translate into W's at some point.
We talk about pieces you're still missing. Is that something that could be added this year from return? Or are you talking about development, or are you talking
No,
about
I think
recruiting?
it's development and recruiting, both. It's development and recruiting. I like our team. I think if we continue to develop and grow and improve, we got a lot of people that are good, that are going to be really good by the time they're juniors and seniors. So I like our pieces, but that doesn't mean that we still couldn't use some help. We're still small. We're still really small. I mean, it was nice to have Cassidy. That's the most minutes she's played, and you could tell it was different having somebody 6'2" in there instead of somebody 5'11" and 6 foot and 5'10" like like our starting lineup is and like we've been playing with, and she's gradually starting to feel her way back in. She played, I think, 14 minutes, but that was hard for her. She was gassed,
And I know we've asked about your mindset a lot, but the tweet you sent out the other night about your son coming back, and is that, obviously these are tough times you're going through. Does that help to know where you fit in the bigger picture here?
Oh, sure. It has always been a part of my coaching that I understand what the institution is about, and it seeps through everything that we do, because I do understand the challenges that my son faces with his work and how demanding it is, and I appreciate so much how many people are involved in him doing his job well and in him staying safe. And I appreciate that so much that I know that everybody matters, everybody doing their job well, everybody being good at what they do, and that whole teamwork and looking out for each other. I was very thankful he was home, because he was doing some pretty gnarly stuff there, and I'm thankful that he's home, and he's home at least for a little while.
How long has it been since you'd seen him?
Well, I saw him last shortly before he deployed. His deployments aren't lengthy ones because of the nature of his work. They're only 2 months at a time. But he comes home and goes out, comes home and goes back out again.
And then, off topic of Air Force, but with the news yesterday of Kobe Bryant, especially with his daughter also being involved in his involvement with women's basketball, how did that strike you?
That hit home so hard. It was just a really, really sad day, and I think I don't know Kobe Bryant personally or anything. I certainly respect and admire his work ethic and the incredible player that he was, but that wasn't the part that just got me so much. It was the fact that he was doing something with his daughter and going to her tournament and that she was with him and that teammates were with them, and just was so sad. It was so hard because it hit so close to home because of the times I've gone to tournaments with my daughter or her teammates and just knowing that whole world and could picture the whole thing and just can't imagine just the grief and the sadness those people are going through.